Hey guys, welcome back. Hope everybody had a good lunch. I just scarfed down a lean cuisine, roast turkey and dressing, and uh, baked apples. It's really good. Hey, Jelly Bean. Hey, Duty. Uh, I really hate StreamYard. I now have 2 gigs up and 2 gigs down on my internet, and I was trying to pull up the trial, and I was going to play Taylor Business again. And I was watching Vinnie Politan talk about Bev getting sued because of the buffer zone, and everything was buffering. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. How is that not enough bandwidth? What is wrong? Can someone please tell me why 2 gigs is not enough for all of that stuff to load? And I cleaned everything. I used CC Cleaner last night and I cleaned everything. I cleaned out my cookies. I emptied my, what's it called? Recycle bin. I did all the things. I don't know what's happening. And I ran a speed test on it, so I know it's right. And they are back. I still want to do this one again, though. This is too funny not to watch again. Why is there no sound? Why is there no sound? Why is there no sound? For crying out loud. Maybe there's just not any sound on the video yet. They were absolutely ready for her this time, though. Yeah, I think she does. I was surprised. Oh, there's sound. Now there's sound. Her attorney was so funny, though. He just sat there. He's like, I was surprised that they didn't find her insane. Because she's crazy. I didn't watch her trial. I just watched the whatever they call it, the insanity part, whatever they call that part of the trial. I don't know why I didn't watch the whole thing. Did they? They hadn't even started, I don't think. So they didn't even get to the hearing today. So this is a different clip than the one I showed earlier. Competency, thank you. I couldn't remember that word. The competency hearing. So they had just started when she just wigged out, I guess. What is that about?
All right, the court will call 24 CF 1048 State of Wisconsin versus Taylor Shabusiness. Appearances.
Gordon Leach for the state.
Taylor Shabusiness is personally present. She is in custody with Attorney Curtis Jelka.
All right, this matter is set for a preliminary hearing today. Mr. Jelka, what's the status?
Your Honor, my understanding is we are proceeding.
All right, Mr. Leach.
Your Honor, I'm just checking in on the status of my officer. I expected her to be here, so, but I'm also having connectivity problems here. I might need to run upstairs and see if she may be upstairs. If I can have a moment.
Sure.
And Judge, it sounds like just one witness. We're asking for sequestration, but that may be a moot point.
All right.
It is one witness, Your Honor.
All right.
What is, does anybody understand what she said?
We're off the record.
She is so crazy.
Mission.
Oh, shoot. Darn it, I just lost the trial. I hit the wrong button. Oh, dang it. Hang on. I'm just so amused by that. I don't know why I'm so amused by that. They should have put her in a mental hospital. They really, really should have. She's not right. That woman is not right. I understand that at the time that she killed that guy, that she was under the influence of meth. Jillian. Jilly Bean, oh my gosh. You are so funny. Like, I get that she was under the influence of meth, and that doesn't, that's not an excuse, right? I get that. But she's nuts. I'm sorry. She needs to be under a physician's care, because that woman is not right. They were definitely ready this time, though. And her lawyer's just sitting there like, he knew they were ready, too. Like, I have no idea what she said. I would love to know what she said, though.
Back on the record, in the case of People versus Linda Stermer, counsel are present, Ms. Stermer is present. Any matters to address before we bring in the jury?
None, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll bring in the jury.
The one I did watch that tried to get an insanity defense was Letitia Stout. That woman, she knew exactly what she was doing. She was just evil. That one's crazy. I think I just figured out what Spike does when he goes outside. Because he was just barking at the door, and I didn't
That
know,
jury
and now he's eating. He goes
decided you
outside,
may
he
call your
crap
next
out of the yard.
witness.
Your Honor, if you could call Kathy Hill to the stand, please.
Because last time I let him out and he came in, he peed right there on the carpet.
And before you have a seat, I'll have you face me, please, and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you. Please have a seat, and once you're settled, we'll have you give us your full name and spell the last. And if you can move that microphone toward your mouth, that will help.
Kathy Lee Ilg, ILG.
Rabbit poop.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Ilg, do you know a Linda Stermer?
Yes.
How do you know Linda Stermer?
We had a mutual friend, Kate Fox.
I missed
Do
this.
you recall when you first met her?
It was probably about a year before the fire.
So sometime in 2006.
Yes.
And did you spend time with Ms. Stermer?
I've only spent time with her maybe 3 times.
And would that have been before the fire or after the fire?
2 times, I believe, before the fire, and 1 time after the fire.
What was the first time? What did you guys do?
Went over there to see the curly horses. They were beautiful. Curly horses. Horses with curly hair. They're beautiful.
So you went over to her home and saw the horses?
Yes,
And at that time, was it just you and Linda, or were there other people there?
Kate was there, and I believe her daughter Kelsey was there, and the second time I went, her husband was there.
Okay. And then what did you do the second time you went over there?
Same thing, went to see the horses, but I went in and Linda introduced me to her husband. I said hello. He was working on the house.
And so that was, do you recall how close of time that was before the fire?
Couple months.
And then you weren't there then anymore prior to the fire?
No.
And then you said you had met Linda one time after the fire?
Yes, after the house had burned, there was no way to contain the horses and to water them and feed them because the water wasn't working. So one of the horses was coming to my house. Litzy was the horse's name. And we went over there, me, Kate, her brother Steve.
When you say brother Steve, was that Kate's
Kate's
brother Steve?
Steve, to take apart the back deck so that we could build a lean-to at my house because horses have to have a place to go inside.
And so you were assisting her then with getting those materials so you could take the house? Or take the horse?
Yes.
Okay. And were there, when you were at the house with Ms. Stermer after the fire, did she ask you to help her move any items?
We had gone in the shed to look for something. I don't even remember what. Might have been tools to help tear down the back deck. It was a really tall deck.
And then did you find anything in the shed?
Well, I thought it was odd that there were the children's school pictures. You know how you frame them and you have for kindergarten through whatever grade. They were stacked up in there. And I was kind of concerned about them because of mice and rats.
Ooh.
Then I wondered what they were doing in the shed and that they, I mean, it was good they didn't burn, but that they weren't in the house.
So you found it you questioned why they were in the shed
Yeah,
with mice versus in the house.
correct.
And you're repeating her answers, and I get you're just trying to clarify, but objection.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. And did you say something to Linda about those pictures that you?
Yeah, I just said those pictures out there, maybe we need to move those out of there.
Did she tell you why the pictures were in the shed?
Nope, and I didn't ask any more after that.
She didn't tell you how they got there?
No,
Did she ever ask you to go into the rubble of the house?
she had gone in to look for something. I used to be a firefighter in South Haven, and I knew it wasn't a good idea to go into a house that had been that destroyed by fire. So when she went in to look for something, I thought she said her rings. I said I didn't think it was a good idea to go in there, so I did not go in.
Did she go in?
Yes, she did.
Did she tell you what she was looking for?
I thought she said rings and some cup that was in the dishwasher.
Did she say why she was trying to find a cup in the dishwasher?
She didn't say. No.
At some point, then, did you drive her van that day?
Yeah, I went to get something to drink and drove into town to the gas station and got something to drink for everybody.
And this is after she told you she was going into the house to look for rings?
Yes,
And did you see anything in the van?
I seen a bunch of jewelry in the, they have those little cubby places where you can put like your phone, but this was older van. And the jewelry was sitting there, and I wondered if that was her jewelry. So when I got back, I said to her, there's jewelry in the van.
What'd she say?
That wasn't the ones she was looking for.
Did she ever tell you about how the fire started?
No, I never asked.
And she never told you anything?
No,
Did she ever tell you from the time you met her up until recently if they'd had any physical violence between the two of them?
she did not know.
Did you ever see any marks on her?
No,
Were you involved a little bit with the horses in terms of talking to her about horses?
only the days that I'd been there.
Did she ever tell you if she went out of state to get these horses, or
Yeah,
what'd she tell you?
that her and Kate would go pick up horses in different states and places because I believe she was a curly horse rescue.
And did she say she'd be out of town for very long?
They'd be out of town for sometimes a day, sometimes not. It depended upon how far they had to go.
Do you know if Linda had a cell phone?
Yes, she had two, a matter of fact,
She had two. How do you know she had two cell phones?
because I got a call from some number and the message had been left, and I asked Kate what was going on because that wasn't the normal phone number that Linda called from. And Kate just said it was her other phone.
I'm going to stop you there. Yeah. So you got a number. Did you call that number back?
No,
I have no further questions for this witness. Thank you, Your Honor.
Can we speed it along this time, dude? She has been around her 3 times. Can we not make this a
Definitely,
half
ma'am.
day long thing?
excuse me.
You all right? You need some water or something?
No.
You have only been to the Stermer house 3 times, am I right?
Correct,
2 before the fire, 1 after the fire.
correct.
In And Steve Benny is your friend? I mean, is Kate Fox's brother?
Kate Fox and I were friends.
Okay. Were you friends with Steve Benny too? And his wife?
I knew
Tina?
him. I'd been to his house.
Have you done favors for Steve Fox, like boarded horses or anything like that?
For whom?
Steve Benny, sorry.
No,
Okay, did you ever board horses for Linda Stermer after the fire
yes.
as a favor to Steve and Tina?
No, as a favor to Linda.
The jewelry you said you found, ma'am, I take it to be in the center console of the van,
Yeah.
right?
Up by the
All right.
radio.
You don't know that that's all the jewelry that Linda Stermer owned, right?
No, I do not.
Okay. Did she tell you she was, strike that. Do you know whether she had like wedding rings in the house that she had lost in the fire?
She said that's what she said she went in for a ring. She didn't tell me what ring it was.
In and around May of 2007, about 4 months after the fire, you were very close friends with Kate Fox, right?
Correct.
And you've been close friends with Kate Fox since before the fire, right?
Correct.
And if Kate Fox asked you to do favors, you would do favors for Kate Fox, right?
Depends on the favor.
Okay, well. Did you act as a go-between between Kate Fox and the police with regard to Linda Stermer?
No, I only talked to the police once.
You talked to the police once and told the police in an anonymous call that you had a friend who needed to talk to them?
It was not anonymous. And I told them that they needed to speak to Kate Fox.
Were you doing a favor for Kate Fox at the time?
No,
Did you ever ask Kate Fox, why don't you call the police yourself?
no. This was like as soon as I heard about the fire.
So within a week or so, it's a small town, you must have heard about it right away.
Yeah. I think it was a while ago. I know that I wasn't because I talked to Kate.
You talked to the police within a week or so of the fire, am I right?
Correct.
Wouldn't have been in May of 2007, right?
Perhaps.
All right. Would it be fair to say, ma'am, that 18 years after this fire, your memory is not as good now as it was back then?
As far as dates,
And your testimony to our jury is that you did not act as a go-between, am I right?
correct.
You don't know why there were any pictures in that shed, am I right?
No,
You never spoke to Steve Benny about it?
no,
You never spoke to the Stermer sons about it?
no. I don't even know who they are.
You've never even met them?
No, they weren't at the house when I came there.
Give me 1 second, Your Honor. Ma'am, when Linda Stermer went in the house, Steve Benny was with her as well, right? He was sifting through things.
I don't recall.
Don't know one way or another.
No,
When exactly did you go to the Stermer house and drove the Stermer van?
the day that it was after the fire, the tape was still around the house, and I had asked, did she have permission to go into the house, because I used to be a firefighter, so I knew you couldn't go in. And she said yes, and
Who said that?
Linda had said that she had permission to go in.
Okay. How many days after the fire? Is this immediately after the fire?
It was within a week or two, because the horses, Litzy needed water. There was no way to get water to them because without electricity, the pumps didn't work.
So within 7 to 14 days of this fire, you drove the Stermer van to a gas station.
Correct.
Linda, as you know, having been with her a couple times, was very much into horses, right?
Correct.
Spent a lot of time with the horses.
Correct.
Did Kate Fox own horses?
I don't know. She didn't when I knew, when I hung around with her.
And you hung around with her before and after the fire, right?
Correct.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you, ma'am.
The reason that you told the police officers about Kate Fox is what?
Things that Kate had said to me.
At that time, were you aware if Linda and Kate were close?
Yes, that's part of the reason Kate and I aren't friends anymore.
So you knew at that time that they were close.
Yes,
And I just want to just be clear, when she said she asked you to go into the home, it was to look for jewelry and a cup in the dishwasher. Is that correct?
correct.
Yes, and answered, so.
I have no further question there.
No, I have. 1 second.
Delve into why they aren't friends anymore.
Jury, do you have any questions
Jury,
over? I've
ask
got
her.
a couple hands going up.
Ask her, jury, ask her. Why aren't you friends with Kate anymore? I want to know. Because I'm nosy like that. I want to know. Ask her. Please ask her. Please ask her. They won't let them, though. If they ask, they won't let her answer. Hey, Rodney. Anytime there's an intentional fire, you always hear about
From the jury,
somebody putting pictures in a
which
safe
van
place.
did you drive into town for drinks when Linda was going through the rubble? Like, what color or make and model?
I do not recall what make and model. It was a while ago. I believe it was blue, but I could be wrong.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
it could be blue, but
I could,
maybe she
I
said
could be wrong.
yeah, I believe it was blue, but I could be wrong. And were the pictures found in the shed in frames or binders, or were they loose?
They were in frames all stacked up on top of it. There was some other stuff there and they were stacked on top of it.
Counsel, any questions in light of those questions and answers?
No, Your Honor.
No? Any question, Mr. Mueller?
Maybe I misheard you. You said it was Linda Stermer's van that you drove to the gas station within a week or 2 weeks of the fire. Am I right?
I think it was a van,
Linda Stermer's van, as far as you remember.
as far as I remember.
Thank you.
Did she give you the keys to drive whatever vehicle?
Yes, and money to buy the water too.
So she handed you keys and money?
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Mueller, anything else?
No, nothing else.
Jury, any other questions? May she be excused from subpoena?
I would ask that you please be excused, Your Honor.
Any objection, defense?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You're all done, and you're excused from this evening now.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Seideving, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. People call Kate Fox to the stand, please.
Oh, so they were out in the hall waiting together. They're not friends anymore.
Ma'am, before you have a seat, I'll swear you in. If you raise your right hand, please do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat, and when you're settled in, we'll have you state your full name and spell the last, please.
Catherine K. Fox, FOX.
Thank you, Ms. Seideving.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Fox, do you know Linda Stermer? How did you know Linda Stermer?
We met through our children.
How did your children spend time together?
My daughter was a cheerleader and her son played football.
So they went to school together.
They did.
And was there a time that you worked with Linda Stermer?
Yes.
Do you recall when that was, when you started working with her?
Roughly June of '06.
Had you been working there prior?
No,
Did you both start on the same day?
we did. We interviewed and started on the same day.
And what place of employment are we talking about?
Chemlink, that was first located in Kalamazoo and then moved to Schoolcraft.
And how well did you know her before you started working together?
I'd only known her for a few months.
So it was really just more through your children?
Well, once we started talking, we hit it off pretty well. We were friends.
Did you have some common interests?
Besides the kids, horses, we went to auctions together. We bought a lot of furniture. I refinished old furniture, so we went to the auctions and bought old furniture.
And you said something with horses. Did you do
She
something?
had horses. My daughter was horse crazy, so we spent time there for my daughter to be able to ride and things.
Did you go any horse shows or pick up horses or anything like that with her?
No, I didn't have much to do with that part of it.
So you started working on the same day. Did you end up carpooling together to go to work?
We did.
Did you
Because
start that right-
we both lived in Lawrence, and it was quite a drive to Kalamazoo.
Did
so-
you start that right away?
Yes,
So as soon as you got the job?
pretty much, yes.
So that would have been June of about 2006, you said.
Yes,
Did you guys get close as you were spending time together?
yes,
And did you talk a lot in the car?
yes,
Did you talk about Linda's marriage?
yes.
What did she tell you about her marriage?
She told me that her husband was abusive to her. She was very unhappy in her marriage.
She said she wanted out of the marriage.
Girl, that.
Yes, she said she wanted out of the marriage.
Did you see any evidence of any physical abuse on Ms. Stermer at all?
Not once, not ever.
At some point, did she talk to you about Chris Williams?
She did.
And what did she tell you about Chris Williams?
They were having a relationship.
Do you know when that started?
I am not sure. I don't know how long after it started before she talked to me about it.
Was it shortly after you started working there?
It was at least a couple of months.
And what did she say about Chris Williams?
That he was extremely important to her.
How did she describe her feelings for him?
She wanted to be with him.
Do you recall ever overhearing any conversations between her and Mr. Williams
Yes, they talked pretty much every night on the way home on the phone.
in your car?
She usually drove.
So she talked as you guys were driving back and forth?
Yes,
Did she say if this relationship was sexual?
she did.
What'd she say about it?
She said it was the best lover she ever had.
Your Honor, it's what the defendant said. She's describing her relationship.
Still relevance.
I find it relevant.
And it's
As
showing
opposed
she's
to-
gone on examination under oath,
Oh,
saying
well,
she is, thank you, Your Honor. So she said that he was the best lover she ever had.
Yes,
Did you know where Mr. Williams lived?
I had occasion to go there with Linda. I never went inside the house, but I did sit in the car while she went inside after work a few times.
How long were you sitting outside?
Half hour, 45 minutes.
Did she say what she was doing inside?
It seemed implied. I didn't ask.
And she told you that's Chris's house?
Yes.
At some point, did the police contact you about Mr. Williams? Ask you about him?
When I talked to them, yes,
Did you tell them where Mr. Williams lived?
I believe so.
Were you aware of any phones that Linda had?
Yes.
And what did she have in terms of phones? that
She
you
had
saw?
one phone that was the phone that her family knew about and another phone that they didn't,
And how did you know that the family didn't know about that phone?
because she told me that.
Did she tell you where she kept it?
Sometimes she left it at my house, and sometimes she told me she had found a spot underneath the dash in her Blazer where she could put the phone.
Did you hear her talking on that phone?
Yes,
And who was she talking to?
Chris.
I want you to think about an incident at Thanksgiving prior to the fire. Did you call the police?
I did. That was in 2006.
So just a little less than 2 months before the fire, correct? If I told you the fire was
Yes,
January 7th of
yes.
2007? And can you tell the jury then why you called the police?
I called the police because she called me hysterical and said that she had a gun and wanted me to give her one good reason not to shoot him,
Not to shoot him?
not to shoot Todd. And I did my best to calm her down, but at the end of the conversation, I still wasn't comfortable that things had calmed down, and so I called the police.
Did you know she had a gun prior to that?
I didn't. I'd never seen a gun.
Had she ever talked about shooting him before that?
She talked about various ways that she had thought about getting rid of him.
What did she say to you?
She talked about shooting him. She talked about running over him with her car, poisoning him.
And she talked about all this with you.
Yes.
And why was she talking about this? I'll rephrase.
Yeah, that's sustained.
What was the context of that conversation?
Generally, it was when she was talking about how unhappy she was in her marriage.
She ever talked to you about Todd being suspicious of her?
Not until late in 06. It was late in 06. She said that she felt like he was getting suspicious.
She talked to you about a post office box?
Yes, I actually went with her when she opened that post office box
Why, what was,
because she had credit cards and phone bills and things that Todd didn't know about, and she had the bills sent to the post office box so that he didn't see them.
And you went to that post office box?
I did. There were several occasions when I went and got the mail out for her and gave it to her.
So you actually picked it up for her?
Yes.
What was your relationship with Todd Stermer, if any?
From when our friendship started, she had told me that he was jealous of the time that we spent together and that he didn't like me. So I didn't have contact with Todd.
And that was because of what she said to you?
Yes.
After the fire, did you talk to her about the fire?
I asked her about it. She told me that her attorney had advised her not to discuss it.
So you didn't have any conversations
We
with her
did
about it?
not, no.
Did she ever say anything about Todd being run over by a van?
She did.
What'd she say?
She told me that she had run over him with the van.
Did she tell you why?
No. Well, she said it was smoky and she didn't see him, that he had run out of the house and she was trying to get in the van to go for help.
Had you talked to Kathy Ilg about any concerns you had?
Yes. I told her I felt like I needed to speak to the police, but there was so much sympathy for her at work at that point after the fire that I didn't feel like I could go to them directly.
So you didn't want to go directly?
No, I didn't want anyone to know that I had contacted them because it would have made my life really hard at my job.
After the fire, did Ms. Stermer ever give you her locker keys from work?
She took some time off after the fire and she said there were things in her locker that she needed me to take out for her.
Do you recall what those items were?
I never looked at them. It was just a bag of stuff that was in the locker.
And then where did you take those?
I took them home with me.
Were you able to give them back to her?
Eventually, initially they had been set on top of a trunk in my house. Someone had opened it at some point and the bag had fallen behind it and I couldn't find them. And she was very angry.
What was she saying to you?
She accused me of stealing them or keeping them intentionally.
Were these paper items or were they items?
It felt like a bag of mail.
Eventually, did you find those items?
I did.
Did you give them back to her?
I did.
Did you store anything at your house for her?
Like I said, occasionally the phone, before the post office, sometimes bills, phone bills.
When you talked to deputies about Mr. Chris Williams, were you able to describe his vehicle?
Yes.
And you also then knew his address?
Well, I didn't know the exact address, but I knew how to get there. I'm not very good with streets in Kalamazoo.
So you just told them the location?
Basically, yes.
Did Linda ever ask you to lie for her when she was with Chris?
Like I said, I had no contact with Todd, so no.
Did you ever have any further conversations about what happened on the fire, the day of the fire, or about her running him over?
No, I'm pretty sure she only told me that the one time. And honestly, I didn't want to know.
Did Linda call you a few days after the fire and ask you to go out to the scene?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how long it was shortly after the fire. She called me. It was late at night. It was pouring rain. And she said she needed me to bring a flashlight and come out to the house because there was a coffee cup in the dishwasher that had not been run and she needed to find that cup because it had tranquilizer in it and she didn't want the investigators to locate it.
At some point, did your relationship start to dissolve?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury why your relationship started to dissolve?
I had loaned her $5,000 because she told me that her mortgage was about to default and she was going to lose her house. And I had gotten paperwork in the mail for a signature loan for $5,000. So she asked me if she could borrow the money and said that she would make the payments on it and that it would help build my credit. So I did. I took the check, I signed it, I went to my bank, I deposited it, and I had a bank draft drawn up to Linda Stermer for the $5,000.
So you gave her then the entire $5,000?
I did.
And this was a loan in your name?
Yes.
And you did it why?
I didn't want her to lose her house.
Because you're stupid.
And are you talking about the house that had burned, or you're
Yes.
talking about it? Okay. But it was your understanding she needed this money to keep that
Yes.
and keep the property? Is
Yes.
that right? Okay. And once you gave her the money, it was your understanding she was going to make payments?
Yes.
And did that occur?
No.
How did you find that out?
Several months later, one of the bills came because I hadn't even been opening them. I was just giving them to her. A bill came and it said final notice. So I opened it and realized that not one single payment had been made.
And
So-
again, this was just in your name.
Yes.
So what did you do once you found this information out?
I confronted her at work
And where did you confront her at work at?
in the bathroom.
In the bathroom? And tell me what happened during that conversation.
She looked me in the eye and said she never borrowed money from me.
And what did you do?
I was angry. I yelled. I was very verbally abusive. I was very angry.
Because now you had to pay that $5,000 back.
Yes.
And what did Ms. Stermer do then when you became angry with her?
She said a couple of things before she walked out of the bathroom, like, stop touching me, get away from me. And then she went out of the bathroom and I followed her into the hallway and continued basically yelling at her.
She said she never opened any of them. She
Did you
just
both get in
gave them
trouble
to
at work?
her.
No,
You didn't get in any trouble?
no,
Was that the last time you talked to her?
that would, probably.
Any substantial conversations after that?
Not that I recall.
She ever pay you back?
No.
Stupid to do it in the first place.
Who's Steve Benny?
My brother.
When was the last time you had a conversation with your brother?
My mom's funeral in 2001 until I introduced him to Linda in 2006, 2007.
You introduced him to Linda?
Yes. He had property and she needed a place for her horses to stay.
So you connected the two of them?
So I connected the two of them so they could make that happen.
Did you talk to your brother anytime after that?
No,
Have you seen him?
no.
Now
Only
you're
at
gonna-
funerals and we don't have conversation.
So from 2001 to 2007, there was one conversation about connecting him with Linda?
Basically, my brother and I have never been close.
I know the feeling.
Anything else that Ms. Stermer told you over the course of your friendship about either the house or her relationship or Chris Williams that I failed to ask you about?
I don't think so.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
It's Mueller.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Buckle up, y'all.
Hello.
I just want to get a couple housekeeping things done from what a prior witness said. You and Linda, as I understand it, you started at ChemLink on the same day, June 5, 2006, sound right?
That sounds right. Sometime in that area.
Linda helped you get the job, right?
Yes.
You two worked the second shift?
Yes.
All right. I used to work in a factory once. Would second shift be 3 to 11?
Yes.
And Chris Williams, he worked the first shift, am I right?
Yes, he did.
What would the first shift be?
7 to 3.
7 to 3.
Okay. He was a truck driver. Do you know whether he was in the same building as you
It was all one building.
in Schoolcraft?
Yes.
But he'd be leaving as you were coming on, correct?
Yes.
And you and Linda became almost like best friends, am I right?
I thought so.
Chris Williams, you're saying Linda had started having a relationship with him, all right?
That's what she told me.
Okay, do you remember when it started?
Specifically, no. Like I said, I don't know how long it had gone on before she mentioned it to me.
Do you recall? Well, it wasn't a big secret around Kemley, was it?
That they were seeing each other?
Yeah.
I don't think it was common knowledge. There were a handful of people that may have known.
And we'll return to that. Let me just make sure I get this timeline right. You start June of 2006 with Linda, right?
Yes.
Working the same shift, going to work, traveling every day because you both work long ways from
Yes.
Schoolcraft. Then in Thanksgiving of 2006, November of 2006, there's this incident that happens that you told us about, right?
Yes.
Where you're the one who called the police, am I right?
Yes.
Because Linda, you said she had a gun and give me one reason why I shouldn't shoot this guy to death.
Yes.
Right. That's what you told the Michigan State Police. You called them.
I called 911. Who I talked to, I couldn't say.
Okay. Let me show you if I may approach, Your Honor. Thanks. You testified in a prior hearing, am I right?
Yes, I did.
Under oath,
Yes, sir.
subject to the penalty of perjury,
Yeah,
and you swore to tell the truth,
I did.
and you did tell the truth in
Do you have
that
a
hearing.
question?
And you did tell the truth.
Yes,
the question.
I did tell the truth.
Thank you. I want to turn your attention to page 192, if I may. Are you there?
Yes.
And there are a bunch of numbers, of line numbers on the sides. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Question was asked, you told the police that there was a gun involved in that incident. Ma'am, are you sure? Your answer was, they specifically asked me while I was on the phone if I knew if there were any firearms in the house. And I stated at that time, yes. See that?
She told me she had a gun.
Listen to my question.
Okay.
That was the question and answer you gave under oath, am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Then the question, that there was a firearm in the house or that there was a firearm being involved in the incident. And your answer was, you told them that I knew there were guns in the house. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
That
I
was
don't
your-
remember saying guns, but I
Excuse me.
did say there was a gun in the house.
That was your testimony under oath, right?
Yes.
And when you swore to tell the truth and you gave that answer to that question, it was the truth.
Yes.
And you knew that at that time, you need to make sure you're telling the police detailed information so they can help your friend.
I told them what she told me.
Okay. Isn't it true? There's nothing in here about, give me one reason why I should shoot that guy. Why I shouldn't shoot him.
One,
Am I right?
what are you saying?
Nothing in that transcript that where you swore to tell the truth that I just read says anything that you told the police about Linda saying, give me one reason why I shouldn't shoot that guy. Am I right?
I thought that I had.
Question was, am I right in the questions and answers that I read?
I
She's trying to review the document you gave her.
I just asked her to look at those questions and answers.
Well, why don't you let her finish and then you can ask your question.
I did tell them that she told me she had a gun.
November 2006, 07, right at the time of the fire, you had been hospitalized, am I right?
Yes,
You had been hospitalized in a psychiatric facility,
Yes.
am I right? And you were diagnosed with severe depression,
situational depression.
Your Honor, I guess I'm just going to object, unless this would affect her memory. I don't know if we really need to go into her medical history.
she was hospitalized for a psychiatric condition. It goes to what she remembers and what she's able to tell us now
I don't think it's
about the
exactly
time of the fire.
that anything that-
Depression is not.
I'll sustain that
Thank you,
objection.
Your Honor.
Then the fire happened, am I right?
Yes,
January 7th. And then you have told our jury that your friendship dissolved over a loan of $5,000. You remember that?
I do.
And that culminated in a big verbal argument.
Yes,
All right. That big verbal argument happened July 31 of 2007.
yes.
You had found out shortly after or before that Linda wasn't making payments on this loan you'd made, right?
Shortly, very shortly before that.
Because you were hot, right?
Yes, I was angry.
Okay. And that's the reason your friendship dissolved.
There were a lot of things that led up to that, but that was the last straw.
Okay. Now, I want to direct your attention to your testimony. Again, you have that with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Say yes. Page 201, line 5 to 13. Let me know when you're on page 201
Line 5.
to 13.
Like I said, there were a lot of things that culminated in the relationship ending, but yes, I recall testifying to that.
When you were interviewed by Detective Rout, and you gave this testimony under oath at that hearing, you were asked, isn't it true that you told Detective Rout, when you were interviewed by her on May 17, 2007, that your relationship with Linda Stermer pretty much dissolved in February of 2007, after she had received so much sympathy from her coworkers, and Linda was transferred from second shift to first shift, and this angered her, you,
Yes,
because the plan had been for the two of you to move together to first shift. Isn't that true? And your answer was?
yes,
Yes. So your relationship dissolved in February of 2007 because you were angry that she had gone to
I
first
wouldn't
shift.
say it dissolved at that point. We still had contact after that. Not nearly as often, and we were still working together
That fact that
at the same place.
the fact that she went to, well, she was on first shift now and you were on second. True?
Yes,
Okay. Now, my question is, not only did it anger you, you felt betrayed, didn't you?
I started to realize how many lies she had told me.
Because you think she lied when she made you this promise, or you guys talked about, we're going to go to first shift as a package deal.
Yes, and she never even gave me a heads up that she was changing or talking to anyone about changing shifts.
Do you understand that on January 7, she lost her husband and her 3 teenage kids lost their father?
I know, I feel bad for her kids.
And so she had to take care of 3 teenage kids who are school aged, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes,
And you understand that she asked management, can I change shifts so that I can accommodate the school schedule? True?
true.
And so you felt betrayed by that as she lied to you?
It sounds petty. That sounds petty.
Well,
And it was much bigger than that.
in terms of, you did feel like she lied to you, right?
Often, yes.
No, about that.
About that specifically, yes.
Are we gonna nitpick over this?
Then-
Is not about.
In May,
Oh my God.
May 11 of 2007, Linda accused you of spreading rumors at work that she had killed Todd. Isn't that right?
I may have talked to somebody about that, yes,
Yeah, you may have talked to a woman named Jen, a coworker.
possibly.
Well, possibly. Let's look at if I can refresh your recollection. If I may approach her. Honor.
Well, she ran over him with a van, and he died.
I
That's
have you read this.
pretty much what she did.
Let me read that asterisk paragraph. You don't read it yourself.
That sounds right.
Refresh your memory now, ma'am.
I don't remember who Jen was, but yeah.
Refreshes.
I know I talked to someone, I just didn't remember the name.
Okay. That you were accused by Linda of telling another coworker by the name of Jen that Linda killed her husband. True?
Yes, because I
You-
believe
you
that's
can
what
Excuse
happened.
me, ma'am, you can understand how someone might be upset when a coworker is spreading rumors at work that she was a murderer. You can imagine how upsetting that might be. True?
Sure.
So that's May 11. And then
Oh, Jelly Bean.
right after that, you and Kathy Ilg get this idea of you want to go to the police to tell the police things, but you don't want it to come. Is that fair? So you, Kathy, I need you to make a phone call.
Well, I didn't tell Kathy. I discussed it with Kathy, and Kathy offered to call them and have them come to me.
Okay, so Kathy offered to be the go-between between you and the police. Am I
Just for that incident.
right? In May of 2007.
Yes.
Then you had Officer Rout come to your work. Am I right to interview you?
Yes.
Even though at that time you lived about a mile from the MSP post. True?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
And you also lived about 5 minutes from the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office, right?
Yes.
Let me go down there. Yes?
The point was to avoid conflict with people at work that were feeling sympathy for her.
Okay. So that's why you had the police
Come to me.
come to work for this big show that the police are talking to you while you wanted to avoid conflict with the people at work.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Then we have this issue that happened because of the loan, right? Where you confronted Linda in the bathroom
Yes.
at work, right?
Yes.
And you got verbal,
I did.
but it didn't get physical.
I never touched her.
Never touched her. Yet you were convicted for assault.
I pled no
excuse me.
contest because she had already convinced the police that I had done that.
The question is this: you were convicted of assault.
I don't really know what the point of talking about convictions is, if it's relevant or not.
She already said-
Do with truth.
She said she never laid a hand on it, Linda.
Is this out of this incident?
Yes.
The assault? I'll allow it.
I guess I'm also then concerned that assault can mean also not,
Right.
it can also mean put in fear of. It doesn't necessarily prove that there was any sort of battery. So I also would ask for an instruction on that for the jury so that they understand.
If you are
what an assault
sincere,
that
though,
is,
that's
and it's
assault.
supposed to be just-
Your Honor, I don't know if we need a speech instead of a legal objection.
Okay.
Shut
There's
your
been a legal
face,
objection.
dude.
In light of the prosecution reminding me of the elements of the assault, I find it more confusing than,
Well, let me see if I can clarify this.
so I'm not allowing you to go into that anymore.
Okay. Right after this incident, you contacted the police again, Detective Rout. Am I right?
Yes.
Now, you said that Linda Stermer asked you to close out her post office box. Am I right?
Clean out her post
Clean out.
office box.
And you closed it out though, didn't you?
I don't remember if I took everything out or if I actually closed the box. I think I originally said that I closed the box, so I assume that's what I did. It's been a long time.
Understood. Closing the box means closing the account because she didn't want
Right.
Todd to find out.
But I, like I said, was with her when she opened that post office box.
You weren't a signer on the box. It was her box.
I had a key.
You had a key, and every now and then she'd give you a key for that post office box. And if you needed to get stuff for her, you did.
Yes.
Are you telling our jury the U.S. Post Office in Pawpaw
Yes.
that the federal government, the U.S. Postal Service, allowed you to close out a box from a third party?
I don't think she'd have any knowledge of what the post office is doing. I think she can talk about her actions and what she did. I don't think she knows what the post office did.
This is impeachment. This is cross-examination. I'm allowed to get into this.
If you lay a foundation
Yes.
that she knew.
Have you ever opened a post office box before? Ever?
Yes, once in South Haven.
And when in South Haven, did you ever close that box?
Yes.
And when you open the box, you have to show ID, don't you?
I don't remember. That would have been in the 80s.
You wouldn't know if you just simply say, I'm Kate Fox, I'd like to open a box, and they give you one.
If I had to show ID, I'm sure I did.
And you have to fill out some type of form or application. They don't just give you a key. Right?
Right.
When you closed your box, you had to prove it was you. True?
Your Honor, I prefer to ask her if she remembered because it appears
Your Honor,
that
we don't need a
she's
speech.
struggling with her memory on what actually occurred by putting words in her mouth.
That's specific.
Ma'am? Can't talk at the same time, okay? So what is the question right now, Mr. Mueller?
Question is, well, let's say, did you ever testify under oath that the U.S. Postal Service allowed you to close a postal box for another person?
I'll allow that question for
Yes.
impeachment.
You testified to that under oath,
Yes.
but you don't know if they actually would allow you to do that, right?
I believe they did.
You recall
I
having,
know I cleaned the box out that
If
day.
you weren't
you
such a
recall showing
jackass.
ID to the postal office that day. You remember
I
cleaning out the
don't
box.
remember whether I had to show ID or not.
You don't recall what you had to do, am I right?
Right.
Now, this issue of a coffee cup that Linda talked to you about, she needed to get in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Because she wanted, I think you told us that the coffee cup had tranquilizer in,
Yes.
right? But she didn't give any tranquilizer to Todd
She
Stermer.
told me she didn't give it to him because she found out that he had already taken something for sleep.
Okay, he took something for sleep. Are you aware, do you have any evidence to corroborate for our jury that Linda Stermer told you any of this?
No, I don't.
Are you aware that Dr. Markey, the medical examiner, has testified Todd Stermer didn't have any drugs in his system, none except caffeine?
Your Honor, that's not correct statement of what was actually found by Dr. Markey. There were drugs found in his system, and he listed them out on the toxicology.
In his system is in the blood, active in his system. Council knows that.
I think asking her about what the doctor found is inappropriate.
No, I just asked if she was aware of it.
No, I wasn't aware of it.
Don't tell the judge nope. Good Lord.
Man, do you think you're a truthful person?
Yes, I do.
You think you're
You're a jerk.
a deceitful person?
No.
Well, wouldn't it be a little bit sneaky when you went with Kathy Ill to call the police?
I'm gonna object to this. I don't understand what this line of
It goes to right to
questioning is.
credibility.
I
It's
think
argumentative.
Goes
maybe a
right-
different word besides sneaky. It looks like you're going for truth and deceit.
Would it be deceptive that you went through a third party to talk to the police?
It didn't feel like it at
He
the
did,
time.
Larry. Yeah.
Not to me.
He did.
No.
So you don't feel like you're deceptive or
I
untruthful?
felt like I needed to talk to them.
This question is, you don't feel like you're untruthful, right?
No,
And you don't feel like you're deceptive, right?
no.
You're not asking the answer, I'd ask you to move on.
There's an objection asked and answered. I'm sustaining.
Thank you. Would your siblings agree with you?
Not my brother, but I don't have a relationship with my brother. My
No.
sister would tell you that
And
I'm
would be-
honest.
And that would be Steve, right?
Yes, it would.
Steve Benny.
Yes.
Thank you. Give me 1 second.
Yes, Larry. He said there was a difference between what was in the blood and what was in his system. This is her first conviction got overturned because of ineffective assistance of counsel.
Attorney Mueller was asking you about your prior testimony and whether you had talked to them about whether she said she had a gun.
Yes.
And do you recall looking at the testimony then? I'm going to actually have you go through all of your answers on that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and say yes instead of on here.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, so I'm going to have you read to me because I believe he was.
You know, all objections just started. They've been going up to sidebar. I think that the prosecutor is getting fed up with these guys now, because this is the most ridiculous defense team I've ever seen. The questions are just ridiculous. I just don't understand some of the questions they've asked. I'm flabbergasted at some of the questions they've asked. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, is this one gonna get overturned too? Because
was concentrating on particular lines.
Okay.
And so I'm going to have you read from 15, line 15, which I believe he was talking to you about. And I'm going to actually have you continue down to line 24. If you could just read that. The same page you had, I believe it's 192.
All right, the question, you didn't tell the police and things. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I want her to read because he made her read the two statements and he excluded another statement that she made.
So, okay. Question, you didn't tell the police in Thanksgiving 2006 that Ms. Stermer had a shotgun and was threatening her husband, did you? Answer, yes, I did. You told the police that there was a weapon involved. I told them there was an assault that she told me she had a gun.
Thank you. So that's the full and complete answer that you were trying to give, is that
Yes.
correct? And that's from the same page that Attorney Mueller had you read from.
Yes.
Do you know if everybody worked like in different roles and at ChemLink? Do you know if drivers were on the same shift as people on the line?
I think they had a few people from each department on both shifts, but I'm not positive about that. The drivers may have only worked in the morning. I don't know.
So you don't know? if
I
they-
didn't know I didn't know them personally.
You only know what your shift was.
Right.
But you don't know what driver's shifts or what other employees' shifts are.
No.
And I guess I just want to understand the dynamics at work after the fire were not good.
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
There was a little tension,
Yes.
there was stress,
Yes.
and you wanted the police to come to you versus you reaching out to the police.
Yes.
And why did you want that?
Because I had to continue to work with the people that I worked with. And like I said, at the time, they were very sympathetic of her situation.
And you didn't want to look like the bad guy,
Right.
but you felt this information needed to get to the police?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
I don't blame her.
Yes, thank you.
Somebody lives
Ma'am,
in their
because
house in a
everybody
fire
was
and their husband
sympathetic
dies.
with Linda Stermer, who lost her husband. You were upset about that?
I wasn't upset about it. I just didn't want to end up on the wrong end of it. I didn't want them to see me as the enemy.
Okay. But.
But
you
I
didn't-
didn't feel the same way that everyone else did. No.
Okay. And that's why you had the police come to you instead of you going to the police, so you're away from the employees that you didn't want to be looked bad upon?
I don't understand your
Yeah,
question.
bad question. Sometimes I do that. Instead of going to the Van Buren County Sheriffs who live or who are 5 minutes from your house, or the Michigan State Police, which is a mile from your house, you had them go about a half hour to your work. Am I right?
Yes.
And that was, you were afraid that the employees would see you were talking about Linda, and everybody felt bad about Linda.
Yes.
And that's why you had them come to you at work
Exactly.
instead of you going to them, right?
Yes.
And then finally, when you were asked those questions on 192, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
I'm familiar. Yes.
Okay. You didn't tell the police on Thanksgiving 2006 that Ms. Stermer had a shotgun and was threatening her husband, did you? And your answer was, yes, I did. Then you told that to the police, that there was a weapon. I told them there was an assault, that she told me that she had a gun. Then you were asked some follow-up questions, right? The ones I read you. And you were pressed a little more. You told the police that there was a gun involved in the incident. Ma'am, are you sure? They specifically asked me while I was on the phone if I knew there were any firearms. She's with me at 192 and 193.
Okay. Is there a specific inconsistent statement you're trying to
Yes.
get at? Okay.
I'm just pressing, she got pressed and then admitted the truth under oath that you told them that I knew there were guns in the house. And that was your testimony under
So
oath.
the guns is where you're getting hung up? Because I told them she had a gun.
Excuse me. You said that I knew there were guns in the house under oath, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't really know else. Thank you.
You told them that because Linda told you she had a gun in the house.
Yes.
Is he making a big deal over one freaking letter? It's been transcribed incorrectly.
And I just want to be clear, I think it got lost in the translation here. Did you want it to appear the police were coming to you instead of you going to the police?
Yes.
And that's what you were trying to accomplish?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Jerry, do you have any questions? None? Okay, thank you, ma'am. You're excused from your subpoena. Any objection to
Afraid of
excusing her?
Yes,
Counsel?
I wouldn't want to ask her any questions.
Okay, you're all done. Thank you, Mayor. Yep.
Thank you.
I can understand her being mad, but I'm not going to loan somebody $5,000. Like, it was a loan taken out in her name that Linda said she was going to pay. That's worse than just loaning somebody money. Like, if you have $5,000 that you loan to somebody, you know, like, if you loan somebody money, you know there's a chance that they're not going to pay it back, right? But if there's a loan taken out in your name and you give that money to somebody else and then they don't pay the payments on that loan, that screws up your credit. Like, that's not cool. Don't ever do that. That's not that's not a good decision. Don't do that. Well, I don't know, but I think it's being nitpicky. And just because she didn't say, I wrote it down. What did she say? Give me one reason. Give me one good reason not to shoot him. So what if she didn't actually say that in the hearing or whatever it was where she said it under oath? If she said that, she said it. She doesn't.
4:15 today. So
Yeah,
I'll
they
let you take a
do. They
15-minute
mark.
break now, okay?
They
And
They mark
remember the
first notice,
rules.
second notice, final notice. Yeah, they do. I don't know why they didn't, or she didn't see it, or she said she pled no contest to it. So, which is the same as guilty. Which that is, I mean, like, if you corner somebody in a bathroom and start screaming in their face, that can be considered assault.
Jury's left. Any matters to address in our short break?
The only thing, Your Honor, is just that the next witness is Linda's going to be reading transcripts. So it's my understanding that I'm going to play the part of Mr. Capps. Mr. Kelly is going to be then Mr. Getting, and then my, Your Honor, this is my case, my direct, my witnesses, so we already have a reader. Thank you.
Okay.
Your Honor, I think we can have a reader for us.
So you have someone reading?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I'm not going to have separate readers come in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we caught up to the live? Almost. Yeah, there can be. I didn't like them getting into her medical stuff. I didn't think that was appropriate. That's why I was like so outraged about it. And yeah, depression can affect memory. But and it can affect behavior. And it could have absolutely affected her behavior toward Linda regarding the money. That whole assault thing could have been because of the depression. But I didn't feel like he should have gone there. I think it was the lawyer that did the interview with Linda for the insurance. Was it her that said, him that said that Todd accused her of having an affair with Kate because she was so concerned about her when she was in the hospital? So we knew she was sick, but we didn't know it was a psychiatric illness until Jerkface got up there and spilled the beans. And I don't think that's appropriate. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, that wasn't appropriate. Because of HIPAA, right? Like, you still have a right to privacy, even if you're subpoenaed. If your medical condition has nothing to do with why you're subpoenaed, he absolutely lacks tact. Absolutely. If your medical condition has nothing to do with what you were subpoenaed for, like, he could have. Now, bringing up the fact that she was charged with assault, that was appropriate. Um, but bringing up that she was hospitalized for depression, no, that was not appropriate. But like you said, saying maybe something like that, was there anything else going on that may have heightened your reactions to the circumstances? Yeah, that would have been appropriate. And then if she wanted to volunteer, and she said it was situational depression, so maybe something happened. Maybe Linda told him. And if Linda told something he was supposed to know. So, yeah. Private information. That upset me. I didn't like that at all. Because who know? I mean, and it upset me. The reason why it upset, well, partially nurse, but also because I have depression, and there's such a taboo when it comes to depression, and it can affect so many areas of your life. It can affect relationships. It can affect getting a job. It's not supposed to, but so many different things. Like, if people know that you have been diagnosed with depression, oh, you're mentally ill, you're on medicine, whatever. It's like there's such a taboo. But the way I look at it, and I think I look at it correctly from a medical standpoint, I equate depression with a disease like diabetes. Diabetes, your pancreas doesn't work correctly. So you take medication to supplement what your pancreas doesn't produce correctly. I take medication because my brain does not handle the serotonin correctly. So I take medication that helps my brain control the serotonin in my brain correctly so that I don't feel depressed all the time. Just like I have to take medication to make my pancreas handle the sugar in my body correctly. It's the same thing, it's just different organs. It doesn't make me crazy. It doesn't make me erratic. It doesn't make me a monster. You know what I mean? Like, but that's not something that you want to go around being,
Back on
like,
the record, counsel,
it's
any
like
matters
there's
to
a
address
taboo
before we bring in the
surrounding it,
jury?
and there shouldn't be.
Know how we're handling this witness and how we're proceeding?
Oh, we were gonna have to do the jury instruction too. Remember we had that about it.
Yeah.
We were gonna do that same jury instruction you read, only you were gonna delete maybe the last sentence or something.
Yeah, delete the last, and then I'm just wondering that the jury's gonna have probably a question on why we're leading this in.
Are you
Say she's
serious?
unavailable, that's what the rules say.
No, this is the wrong one. What the-
We got
Which is the one, because council, can you approach?
Business and Brooks. Yeah, like the majority of people with mental health illnesses, if they are on their medicine, they're fine. It's a chemical imbalance in your brain. You take your medicine, you're fine. It's not your fault. You're not this strange monster that is gonna do something weird. And like the people that you see that do the crazy, they're a very small percentage of the mentally ill. Very, very, very small percentage of the mentally ill. But when you see that, you start to think that's all there is. Like, I worked in a nursing home for years. The percentage of the elderly that are in a nursing home is very, very small percentage. Most elderly live at home, into their late 80s, 90s, and they live at home. The people that live in a nursing home, it's a very, very small percentage. And when you see that all the time, exactly, exactly, very small percentage of the cray cray. The people that are mentally ill are not like that. They're not Taylor Business. Thank God. The hospital cannot divulge. The hospital can't divulge it. That's what HIPAA is for. But I still don't think it's right that he can get up there and start talking about her private business like that, because I don't think it's relevant. I don't think her mental health is relevant. Now, he insinuate that she's up there testifying because she is mad at her or doesn't like her anymore or feels like she slighted her or whatever, like he can do that all day long. But to get up there and be like, oh, well, you're mentally ill, you were in a psychiatric hospital. No, I don't think that's fair game. I just don't. But yeah, you're right. HIPAA is just healthcare. I remember back when we used to have to ask people to make up a password.
Welcome back.
And don't forget Karen.
And Jerry, I'm going to give you an instruction. It's similar to one you've already heard, but it relates to upcoming testimony.
On Thursday on a Friday.
You will hear testimony that Ms. Stermer was in jail on or about June 2009. The parties stipulate that she was in jail for this offense. You must not consider this as evidence of her guilt. The fact that she was in jail must not impact your deliberations or verdict in any way. Thank you, Mr.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this the...
Yes, Your Honor, at this point in time, we intend to read into the record the prior testimony of Dardita Gordon.
I thought she was going to actually testify. They're just going to read her testimony in? Darn it.
In this matter will be handled by myself and Mr. Kelly, from what I understand, and then we intend to have Heather Fisk from our office read the testimony of Dardita Gordon into the record.
Then you
Keep at it, Judy.
Thank you.
Keep at it and report back.
Yes, she is deceased. Yes, she is unavailable because she is now deceased.
Oh, okay. My bad.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Make sure that microphone's right up.
Different view up here.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Would you state your name, please?
Dardita Gordon.
And Dardita, where are you from?
I'm from Covert, Michigan.
And during 2009, I believe between April and August of this past year, were you in the Van Buren County Jail?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And what were you in the Van Buren County Jail for?
Failure to pay fines and costs.
Okay. And while you were there, were there a number of other female inmates that you shared a cell with?
Yes.
Yes, cellmate.
Okay. And my understanding is you left jail somewhere around August the 23rd. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Before you left jail, or when you left jail, were you done with anything you had to do with the system at?
I don't know. That's what I said when I texted Judy last night about Taylor. I was like, why did I think I wouldn't be able to live stream every day? This is why I didn't start live streaming, because I was like, I won't have enough to do every day. How can I be a live streamer? And now I have stuff saved to show you guys. Like, I have stuff. I have lots and lots of stuff.
That point in time.
Yes, I had nothing else to do with the system.
All right. And up to that point in time, had you ever talked to any officer about a person named Linda Stermer?
During the time I was incarcerated?
Right.
No, sir.
Were you eventually contacted by an officer in, I believe, sometime in late October of 2009?
Yes, sir.
All right. And were you told that your name came up from talking to another inmate or other inmates?
Yes.
All right. And is it true that officer wanted to know what, if anything, you knew about a person named Linda Stermer?
Yes.
And during the time that you were in the jail, did you know who Linda Stermer was?
I did not know her until I met her while I was incarcerated.
And when you met her in jail, first of all, tell us, how does things work as far as people getting along, not getting along, making friends, not making friends? Is there any particular way that works at the county jail or not?
Depending on the friendliness of the person, the nature of the person, what they were in there for, I tried to get along with everybody, to do my time, to go home. I don't put myself in the position to argue, to fight with the inmates, or to disrupt the jail system.
Okay.
What didn't she pay?
Basically, I stay to myself, or I talk to other people that are, that I can talk to.
All right. And would it be fair to say that there are some people that get friendly and spend a lot of time with each other talking in jail, and there are other people that just don't do that or avoid people?
Yes.
Okay. How would you describe your relationship with Linda Stermer? How did the two of you get along, if at all?
We got along fine.
Okay. And as far as over the period of about how long were you in jail together?
Roughly, I spent about a week, about 4 days down in the holding tank with her. Then I want to say roughly about a month and a half in the cell with her before I became a trustee.
And during that time, as compared with other inmates, were you closer with her, about the same as other inmates?
I was more closer with her.
Okay. And during that time, did discussion ever come up about why each of you were in jail?
Yes, I previously knew before, when I was in the holding tank with her. I knew then what she was in there for, because...
Okay, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I was going to say, how did you know that?
She told me.
She told you when you were in the holding cell together.
Yes.
Before that, had you read anything, heard anything, seen anything on TV, any other source that you knew anything about her case or that it even happened?
No.
All right. Any knowledge that you have about her case, did that come from anywhere other than Linda Stermer?
No.
All right. I'm just going to ask you a general question. Tell me what your conversations were with Linda Stermer about her case.
Conversation was what she was incarcerated for. She told me she was incarcerated for murdering her husband. She told me that she had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
At one point in time, she told me over a course of 2 years that this was all going on. She was very hysterical at the time when we were in the holding tank. She was very hysterical, very crying, very.
At the time, she said that she didn't have anything to do with it. Did she tell you about anything at all about what had happened?
Only that she had an argument with her husband.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about that there had been a fire?
Yes.
Was there any discussion at all about where she had been when the fire happened, how she happened to get out, and he didn't?
She said that she wasn't in the home at the time of the fire, was the first conversation we had about it.
That she was not in the home?
Yes.
Was she on the property or just gone somewhere else according to what she initially told you?
She said she was gone off the property at the time of the fire.
Okay. And continue on with what happened. Did the story change at any point in time, or was there another story?
The story changed when we were in the cell together.
Okay, and in what way did it change?
The story changed to where she told me that she had an altercation with her husband at the time.
Okay.
An argument with him.
Did she tell you what the argument was about?
No, she did not tell me what the argument was about. That she did not do. She told me that she had an altercation, an argument. There was a point in time that she told me that there was medication involved with her husband.
Okay.
And at one point.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
One point in time, she told me that she started the fire in the home.
Okay. When she was talking about medication being involved, did she indicate how medication had been involved?
Administered the medication.
I'm sorry?
Administered.
She gave him medication?
Yes.
Okay. Did she tell you what it was that she had given him?
No, she did not.
Okay. Now, you said that she eventually told you that she had started the fire?
Yes.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about how she started the fire?
With gasoline.
Okay. Did she give you any other details about where this was or where her husband was or?
Her husband was inside the home.
Okay. Anything more specific than that she told you?
No, the fire was started in the home and her husband was inside of the home at the time.
Okay. Did she indicate how she was able to do that without him stopping her, running out, fighting with her?
He was apparently sleeping.
Okay. What else, if anything, did she tell you about what happened?
She did tell me that at one time that she struck him with an object.
Okay. Was that during this same conversation, or was this a different time?
This was within the same conversation that we had the last time that I spoke with her.
Okay. Was it, just so I understand, was she saying that she struck him with an object while he was sleeping?
No, this was during the argument.
Okay.
She struck him with an object, then the conversation went to there was medication involved, and then the conversation went on with the fire got started. That she started the fire, her husband was sleeping at the time.
All right. Anything else at all any other discussion about what happened that day?
Not after that. That was all that me and her had a conversation about at that point in time.
Okay. Did you ever have any conversation with her at all about her relationship with her husband or other men?
She did tell me that she had a boyfriend.
Okay. Did she tell you anything about him?
She told me that he was a good man.
Okay.
I mean,
Anything else as far as where she met him, how she met him, where he was from, anything like that?
she told me she met him shortly after her husband passed.
Okay, I'm sorry, we misunderstood. Before her husband died, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear.
Okay.
What I was asking about is, did you ever have any conversation, or did she ever say she had a boyfriend while her husband was still alive?
No, she did not.
That never came up?
That never came up, no.
Right now, you've got nothing pending in the system, is that right?
That's right.
And has anything been promised to you, or are you expecting anything for being here and providing testimony today?
No.
All right. And basically, you were identified by someone as being apparently close to Linda Stermer, and the police came and talked to you.
Yes.
And this is pretty much what you told them?
Yes.
Thank you. No other questions.
Wonder why?
Yeah, I think you have to.
Good afternoon, Ms. Gordon. How are you today?
I'm good.
Thank you for being here. I know the weather is quite difficult. My name is Jeff Gettings, and I'm going to ask you a few questions, okay?
Yes.
If at any point you don't understand the question or don't understand what I'm saying, please feel free to just let me know. Is that okay?
Yes.
Now, it's your testimony that, or isn't it true that you were arrested and placed into the Van Buren County Jail in 2009?
Yes.
And isn't it true that you've now testified that you were there for failure to pay fines and costs?
Yes.
Failing to pay what fines and costs?
For restitution.
Restitution for what?
3 years ago, I caught a case for attempted uttering and publishing.
You attempted uttering and publishing. What does that mean?
I knowingly cashed I did not know that the check was stolen, and I cashed a check.
You cashed a check that you did not know was stolen?
Yes.
Well, isn't it true that uttering and publishing requires that you knowingly pass a check that has been false, forged, or altered? It's money that you're not entitled to. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Isn't it that what uttering and publishing is?
No.
That's not?
No.
Isn't it true? Think you pled guilty to the crime?
I did plead guilty to the crime.
Are you now telling me that you're not guilty of that crime?
I'm telling you that I was guilty of cashing a check not knowing it was stolen.
Well, isn't it true that you admitted to the judge at the time of your guilty plea while under oath, after having sworn to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, that you were guilty of that offense that you pled to?
Because that was the offense that I was charged with, and it was dropped to attempted uttering and publishing.
So you attempted to pass a false, forged, or otherwise altered document that you were not entitled to.
Yes.
But you were stopped in the preparation of that offense.
Yes.
That's what attempt means.
Yes.
So, okay. And then the judge had ordered you to pay restitution for that passing or your attempted passing of that false check. The restitution was actually for the check that was cashed. Isn't that true?
The restitution was for that. Yes. That was for that.
Okay. So the charge against you was reduced from uttering and publishing a felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison to attempted uttering and publishing.
Yes.
And then you failed to do what the court had ordered you to do. 3 years passed and you were picked up.
Yes, because I'm disabled.
How are you disabled?
I cannot work. I have medical conditions to where I cannot work right now.
Do you currently take medication, prescription medications for those conditions?
Yes, I do.
What medications are you on?
I take Lortab.
What's Lortab?
It's a pain medication because I have cancer.
Are you currently taking any medications other than Lortab?
I take Xanax because I have PTSD disorder and panic disorder.
PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes, sir.
When were you diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder?
5 years ago, 6 years ago, sorry.
What is the diagnosis of panic disorder?
It's the extreme panic disorder of going in public, of being around a group of people.
And you take Xanax so that you won't panic when you're around a group of people?
Yes.
Were you prescribed Xanax at the time that you were incarcerated in the Van Buren County Jail?
I was not allowed to take them in the county jail.
So at the time that you were incarcerated in the Van Buren County Jail in 2009, you were not taking Xanax?
No, because you cannot have narcotics in the county jail system.
You were not taking your Lortab?
No, because you cannot have narcotics in the county jail system.
What other medications have you been prescribed that you were not taking at the time that you were
I take Seroquel at that time. I couldn't afford it in the county jail because I have no insurance.
What is Seroquel?
Seroquel is for insomnia and for mood disorders.
What mood disorder have you been diagnosed with?
Bipolar 2.
What is bipolar 2?
Bipolar 2 is a mood swing disorder. It is a mental condition of you have mood swings. Your elevation of moods go up and down. It's a mood stabilizer. It's also for insomnia.
Seroquel, Xanax, Lortab. What other medications were you not taking at the time that you were in the county jail?
That's it.
Have you been diagnosed with any other mental or emotional disorders other than panic disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, and bipolar?
No.
Ms. Gordon, have you ever been convicted of any other theft-related crime?
Okay, I'm sorry for pausing it. His appeal is in front of Judge Darrow? What? Why is Judge Darrow going through the colloquy about self-representation? Appeals, I thought, was in front of like a board of judges. It's not like a trial. It's like where one attorney writes a brief that explains all the reasons why there needs to be a new trial. And then they present that brief in front of like a panel of judges. And then the judge asks questions. The judges ask questions. And then the lawyer from the other side gets up and says why there shouldn't be an appeal given. So I am as confused as you are. I don't know.
Crimes or crimes involving dishonesty, like attempted uttering and publishing?
I have one other charge that was a misdemeanor of a theft at Walmart.
When did that occur?
I can't recall the date, the year. I know it was probably 2000, I want to say 5, maybe even 6.
And the reason you can't recall is because you have difficulty with your memory as a result of post-traumatic stress disorder and panic disorder and bipolar.
Yes.
When you were incarcerated at the Van Buren County Jail, you had access to a television. Is that true?
Yes, I had access to a television, but not until after I was already moved from the cell. I was in with Ms. Stermer to cell 1.
You also had access to other media reports, newspapers.
No,
No?
no,
Did you have access to other persons as a source of information? Did anybody come and visit you at the jail?
I'm totally
the
lost.
only one that came to visit me at the jail was my father and my fiance at the time, but they didn't have TV at the time and they don't watch the news.
So both your father and your fiance were persons who came to visit you?
Yes.
And that's it? No other friends, no other family?
Nope.
In the several months that you were there at the jail,
Mm-hmm.
is that a yes?
Yes.
Did you know Linda Stermer
No.
before she came to jail?
No.
She was arrested on June the 5th of 2009. When she initially came to jail, she was put in what you refer to as a tank. Is that right?
Yes, it's like a holding cell for inmates when they come in.
Until they've been assigned to another cell.
Yes.
Now, the tank has another purpose besides being where people are initially put when they are arrested. It's also used as a disciplinary tool.
Yes, it is.
Now, you were in the tank. You hadn't just been arrested. You were there as a disciplinary action. Is that true? Is that yes?
Yes.
Detective Sergeant Macioski and Detective Gabriel Rout, were the two persons who interviewed you on October the 28th. Is that right?
Yes.
Isn't it true, madam, that when you were first asked by the detectives whether or not Ms. Stermer had made any statements to you, you told them that she did ask for forgiveness, but you could not remember anything further?
Yes, they did ask me that. And yes, she did ask for forgiveness.
Isn't it true that you told the officers that that's all that you could remember and you could not remember anything further?
I did not say that that was all I could remember. I said at the present moment, that was all that I could remember.
Isn't it true that it was Detective Macioski that suggested to you that Linda Stermer had struck her husband as opposed to you telling him that first?
No, he did not suggest that to me.
So when Detective Macioski writes in his report that he attempted to jar your memory by asking if she had heard Linda Stermer doing chapel make any statements as to striking her husband, he must be lying in his report.
It was a question that he asked me if there was anything I could remember about her striking, hitting, or anything else.
And so Detective Macioski, after you had told him you could not remember anything further other than her asking for forgiveness, suggested to you that she had struck her husband. Is that true?
Yes, to be honest with you,
Madam, I haven't asked you any other questions, and it wouldn't be appropriate for you just to make comments, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any contact with Ms. Stermer since your release from jail?
No.
Did you visit? So you never visited her. She's never visited you. There hasn't been any contact. Is that right?
No.
So this friendship that you claim you developed with her while you were incarcerated evaporated upon your release, or excuse me, upon her release from jail.
Yes.
She was actually released from jail before you were, right?
Yes.
You made no attempt to come forward with any of this information to the sheriff's department, to a detective, to a guard, or anyone during the course of your incarceration. Is that right?
That's true.
You didn't make any statements to the police or other law enforcement authorities about this at the time when you claimed these statements were being made. Is that right?
That's true.
And even after Ms. Stermer was released from jail in August of 2009, you didn't come forward to any point in time then, did you?
That is true.
And Madam, isn't it true that Detective Maciowski indicated to you or brought to your attention, used the word frying pan before you made any statements about having been struck with any kind of object? Isn't that true?
Yes.
And later, Detective Rout asked you, are you sure about that? Being that Detective Maciowski had mentioned the possibilities of a frying pan, Detective Rout asked you, are you sure that isn't true, that you then said, well, you don't know about the frying pan, only that she did strike her husband. Is that right?
I did say that.
And so even during your interview with the detectives, Detective Maciowski was suggesting information to you. You were including that in your statement, and then you were retracting it later. All during your one interview with the police, is that right?
Yes.
You continue to suffer from memory problems that you are a result of a post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, and anxiety disorder. Is that true?
Yes, I do continue to suffer from them.
Are you currently being treated for those?
Yes, I am.
All right. But they continue to affect your ability to recall things in a clear and precise way. Is that right?
I wouldn't say that. It affects me to be able to decipher from right and wrong.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you whether or not your memory continued to be impacted by the Loratab, Xanax, Seroquel, your disorders of panic, post-traumatic stress disorder, mood disorder, bipolar. Those things affect your ability to accurately recall events. Isn't that true?
It plays a part in it, yes.
What else plays a part in your inability to accurately recall things?
Stress.
All right. What else plays a part? Stress, post-traumatic stress disorders, anxiety disorders, mood disorders, bipolar disorder, and your various prescriptions for those things. Basically nothing else.
That's my part.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Basically nothing else. I take medication for that.
Amber Papish was also in your cell. Isn't that true?
Not with me at the present moment, no, or not.
You are not currently incarcerated.
She was not in the cell at the time that me and Miss Stermer were in the cell together.
When did she come into the cell?
Amber came into that cell shortly after I left.
Amy Lauren, she was also incarcerated with you. Isn't that true?
Yes, Amy Lauren was also incarcerated with me.
And Linda Barton, isn't it true that she also was incarcerated with you and Miss Stermer?
Yes, she was.
I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
Just a couple more questions. Ms. Gordon, it was Officer Maciowski that brought up the question if Linda Stermer had used any object such as a frying pan. He's the one that brought that up?
He brought it up, yes.
Okay. And you understand that we want you to testify to what you remember, not what was suggested to you.
Exactly. That's why when he asked me the question, I said, all I remember is that she said she struck him with an object.
Also, during the course of that conversation, according to his report and Detective Rout's report, is that Linda told you that she was there because she had killed her husband and she had started a fire and that she had used gasoline. Nobody suggested that to you, did they?
No, they did not.
Thank you. No other questions.
Isn't it true that that information had previously been reported in the media?
No, it was not, because I did not watch television at the time. I was not in the cell with any kind of television or any way to be able to see that.
But it
That
happened
wasn't
2
my
years
question.
prior.
That wasn't it.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the next question then, because she said she doesn't watch television and wasn't aware of it. She wouldn't know whether or not it was in the media.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know what the next question is, so let's hear it.
You know what? I'm not even going to bother. That's it. I'm done.
I bet Judge Darrell thought she was done with it.
Okay. You may step down. Thank you. Maybe this one's- yeah. Counsel, can you approach, please?
I bet she thought she wasn't ever gonna see him again in his life. I didn't think he'd ever want to go pro se again. That's for sure. You know, she was on a lot of medicines that do mess up your memory. But if somebody tells me they hit their husband and then set them on fire,
Jury, an instruction for you. The testimony of Dardita Gordon was read into this trial because she is not available. This testimony was taken under oath at an earlier hearing. You should consider this testimony in the same way you consider any other testimony you have heard in court. Thank you.
I don't think.
Ms. Ziderbean, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please call Corey Pierce to the stand, please.
I don't think that's something that you're gonna forget or remember incorrectly. If somebody tells you that, I think you're gonna remember it just like you heard it.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat, and once you're settled in, I'll have you move the microphone close to your mouth and tell us your full name and spell the
One of the
last.
kids.
Corey Lee Pierce, Pierce.
Thank you. Ms. Irene?
Thank you. Good morning, or good afternoon, Mr. Pierce.
Good afternoon.
And can you explain to the jury why you have a different last name?
My biological dad had dropped me off at my aunt and uncle's when I was about 2 years old, and I grew up with them and they raised me.
So who raised you?
My aunt and uncle,
And what are their names?
Linda and Todd Stermer.
And did you think of them as your parents?
Yes, I called them mom and dad.
At the time of the fire, how old were you?
17.
Can you explain to the jury kind of what the layout of the house, where your bedroom was, where your brother slept?
So our bedrooms were in the basement. As you go down the stairs, as you turn to the right, we had a kind of a recreational room right there, and then a downstairs living room. And then in the back corner, there were 2 large bedrooms in each corner down there.
And did you share a bedroom or did you have your own?
I was sharing it with my brother Trevor at the time, and then Trenton's room was right next to that one. They were connected.
right by each other?
Yeah.
And was there a loft area that your dad was working on?
Yeah, so that had just gotten finished. The loft area was Trevor's bedroom.
So that was going to be Trevor's bedroom?
Yes,
But at the time of the fire, were all three of you still sleeping downstairs?
correct.
Do you recall the night before the fire?
Yes.
And had you heard any fighting that night?
Yes, so I had heard a lot of arguing, yelling, and my dad had found out that Linda was cheating on him.
So I can rephrase the question. Do you know what the fight was about?
Yes.
And what was the fight about?
Does he know from personally observing it, or?
He heard
is
it, Your
gonna
Honor.
And why is it being offered?
Why is it being offered?
The objection is hearsay.
Oh, I can actually ask in terms of what he heard his mother say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let
Could you
Linda
tell me
tell
what
me.
you heard Linda say, what the fight was about?
That night,
Yeah.
so Linda was claiming that she didn't cheat on our dad. And
And then you heard more yelling.
I heard more yelling at that point.
And where were you when Linda and your dad were arguing?
Downstairs in my bedroom.
And you
In
could
bed.
hear it?
Yes, could hear pretty clear.
Do you recall, you said you were in bed?
Yeah.
So do you recall approximately like how late this was?
I can't remember the time.
But you had already gone to bed?
Yes.
Did your brothers also go to bed?
Yeah.
All three of you were in bed?
Yeah, we went to bed at the same time usually.
Did any of you get up?
No.
Which you could clearly hear upstairs?
Yeah.
That night that you heard this fighting between Linda and your dad, did Linda come downstairs to the basement?
Not during that night that I know of.
She didn't come down and watch TV?
Not that I know of, no.
She left you on the couch?
No.
At any time that night before the fire, did you hear your dad come downstairs?
Not that I recall.
Didn't hear him go into the furnace room?
No.
How close was your bedroom to the furnace room?
It basically almost touched it. It was just on the other side of the wall, kind of kitty corner.
Shared a wall?
Yes.
Was the basement 100% finished?
It had just gotten finished. As far as I recall, had just gotten finished, yes.
So you had drywall?
Had drywall.
Did you have carpet?
We didn't have carpet down there.
Didn't have carpet yet?
No.
Did you have area rugs?
I don't remember an area rug.
Was the ceiling finished?
Yes.
Was it drywalled?
I think it was drywall, yes.
Growing up, did you ever see your parents get physical with each other?
No.
Did you ever see any marks or bruises on Linda?
No.
Do you recall waking up the next morning, the day of the fire?
Yes.
And you were in your bedroom?
Yeah.
And what woke you up?
I was already awake at the time. I just woke up on my own that morning.
Did you hear anything?
I heard somebody walking down the stairs.
And who was that?
Linda.
And then what did she do?
She came into the room, into my bedroom, sat on the end of my bed, and then I sat up, and she told me that I needed to help my brothers get around and get dressed real fast, and she wanted me to take them out to movie and breakfast that morning.
She say why?
She told me that they were going to get divorced and they were going to decide how to split everything up.
Did she tell you what this fight was about?
She didn't bring up the fight at that point. She just told me that they were getting divorced and wanted to decide how to split everything up.
And she told you to go where?
She told me to take my brothers out to breakfast and a movie.
She give you any money?
Yes, she gave me some money.
Do you remember how much?
No, I can't recall.
So what did you do?
I asked her why we needed to sneak out, and she said that she wanted our dad to think we were still in the basement.
Did she say why she wanted your dad to think that?
Yes.
What'd she say?
She said that if he thought we were still in the basement, excuse me, that they wouldn't argue as much, and that it would be easier to figure out how to get through the divorce, stuff that they were going to go through.
So because of that, she wanted you to sneak out?
Yes.
She tell you not to talk to your dad?
Yes.
Did you go out the basement door or or a different door?
No, we went up through the upstairs door.
So when you went upstairs, what did you see upstairs?
I walked upstairs and my two brothers were behind me, and Linda was on the side blocking the living room, and I kind of glanced over there as I was leaving, and I looked like I saw my dad just sitting in the chair with his arm kind of resting on the side.
Did you see his face?
No.
Did you try to talk to him?
I did not, no.
Did you see any of your brothers go and try to talk to him?
Yeah, so Trenton was behind me. He tried to go around her and say goodbye, and she blocked him and wouldn't let him go over there.
And you saw this?
Yes.
So what happened when she was blocking?
I said, Trenton, come on, let's just go. And we both walked towards the door.
What was the common practice at your house as far as talking to your parents before you left?
We would always give our parents a hug and kiss goodbye and tell them that we loved them.
Did you do that every time you left?
Every time, yes. It
So
was a general rule that we couldn't go to a friend's house. We couldn't go anywhere unless we had said goodbye.
You didn't get to say goodbye that day, did you?
Well, it was a walkout basement it was like built on the hill. So maybe the rooms were on the side where the walkout door was, so they had windows. But if she wanted them to sneak out, why didn't she have them go out the walkout basement? Why have them come upstairs? That's weird.
You.
Oh.
Do you remember if there was a fire in the fireplace?
I don't remember.
Do you remember what car you took to the mall?
Yes, we took the black Blazer.
Did your mom come out? I'm sorry, did Linda come out and to the Blazer when you left?
I don't recall.
Do you remember how you got the keys?
The keys were already in the Blazer.
Was it common practice for Linda to leave her purse in the car?
No.
Did she ever drive the van?
I don't really remember her ever driving the van.
Is that your dad's primary vehicle?
Yeah, that was his work vehicle.
Do you remember seeing Linda's purse before you left?
Yes.
And where was her purse located?
It was on the counter. When you walked up the stairs, you could see it directly on the counter straight ahead of you. Sorry.
Was that in the kitchen area?
Kitchen area, yes, right at the top.
And you remember seeing it when you walked up?
Yes.
Is that a common place for her to keep her purse?
Yeah, just on the counter up there.
Where did you go in Kalamazoo?
We went to the mall, ate some food, and then we went to a movie.
Did you drive?
I was driving, yes.
Do you remember if the Blazer had a full tank of gas?
I don't remember the amount of gas.
Did you get a phone call as you were watching the movie?
Yes.
What was that phone call?
That phone call was from my friend Steven. He lived down the road just a little bit, and he called me and said that our house was on fire.
I'm not offering it for the truth of the matter, just to only describe why he left the movie and his next action.
I'll allow it for that purpose.
So once you got that call, what did you do?
At first I hung up and I thought he was joking. He was kind of a prankster, and he kept calling my phone and I didn't answer it. And then he ended up calling my brother Trevor's phone and told him that it was serious and we needed to get home.
Did you leave at that time?
Yes, then we left.
Did you head back to your house?
Yes, we went straight back home.
What'd you see when you got there?
Police cars, bunch of smoke coming out of the roof of the house. Somebody had seen us pull up, and I didn't really see too much of anything else. We were put in the back of a cop car.
So you stayed in the police car?
Yeah.
You didn't go up to the house?
No.
And then did you stay in that police car for a while?
Yeah, they told us to wait there until they came back.
Were you aware if Linda had a cell phone?
Yes.
Do you know if she had more than one cell phone?
Yeah, she had 2 phones.
And how do you know that she had 2 phones?
I had seen her use both of them on different occasions.
Did she ever ask you to get any bills or pick up any bills for her?
Yes.
What did she ask you to do?
So she called me and asked me to grab the mail that was going to be on the porch, and there was going to be a phone bill within that mail, and she asked me to hide the phone bill.
Did she tell you who to hide it from?
Yes, my dad.
Did Linda ever talk to you prior to the fire about them divorcing or who you might want to live with?
She had brought it up a couple times.
Do you recall how close to the fire that was?
No, I can't recall.
Do you ever remember your dad working on the furnace in the past while you were living at that house?
No.
Do you ever remember a time where there wasn't heat in the house or that it was cold?
No.
Did Linda ask you to move boxes of photos or any photos out to the shed before the fire?
No.
At your home, did you have a snowblower?
A snowblower?
A snowblower.
No, not that I remember. I don't remember a snowblower.
Do you guys have lawnmowers?
We had an old lawnmower.
Was it common to keep gas cans on the property?
Yes.
And where would those be stored?
Either in the shed or in our barn. We made like a barn with overhangs where the tractor and the lawnmower would have been.
So
gas,
they Go
The
ahead.
gas cans would have been with the tractor underneath of the overhang or with it inside the shed there behind the house.
Any reason there should have been a gas can in the front yard?
No.
Did Linda ever talk to you about what happened after the fire?
It was brought up within car rides.
Car rides with who?
My other two brothers.
And what did she say about the fire?
It depended on the time. The stories changed a few different times.
Do you recall what they were and how they changed?
The first time that Trenton asked her about it, she had told us that she was downstairs doing laundry and she heard yelling. And when she looked up the stairs, there was too much smoke. And so she ran out the basement door.
And then did the story change?
The story changed a few different times.
What did it change to?
Another time she heard yelling, she ran up the stairs and saw her dad in the living room on fire. And she couldn't do anything because the smoke and the heat was too much. And so she ran out the front door. Another time she ran upstairs and there was too much smoke and she couldn't see anything and ran out the front door.
Did you ever ask her about the differences that she was telling you?
I never did, but my brother Trenton was very adamant about pushing her on her stories.
Did that happen in front of you?
Yes.
What happened when he would push her?
She would start screaming and one time she pulled the vehicle over on the side of the highway and started slapping him. He was in the back seat. Other times she would just start screaming and crying and saying, "How dare you call me a liar?" And she would tell Trevor to silence him, shut him up, and she would allow Trevor, our other brother, to punch him and physically attack him to keep him, to shut him up.
Did Linda ever tell you what to say prior to you being interviewed?
Yes.
And you were spoken to by the insurance company?
Correct.
What did she tell you before you were interviewed?
She told me that the insurance company's job was basically to try to prevent us from getting insurance money, and they were going to ask us questions, and then she would tell me what the questions would be and how to answer them.
What did she tell you to say?
She said they'll probably ask about our marriage and if we had any issues within the marriage, and you'll need to tell them that there weren't any issues that you ever seen, that the marriage was good and that they were happy together. And if I had ever heard of financial issues, to just tell them that I didn't know, I had never heard of anything.
She asked you then to write out a list of your belongings?
Yes.
What did she say about that list of your belongings?
She had me and my brothers go through it and write out a list of belongings, and she told us that once she got the insurance money, that we would get the money back for all of our possessions. So we needed to itemize each thing that we could remember. And so we did this for a few weeks. We'd keep remembering things, and we'd write them down. And she would tell us to write down how many you think of something you have, how much you think it was worth, put that amount next to it. And once we got the insurance money, that we would be compensated for all of our belongings that we had on those lists.
And did she say what would happen if you didn't say what she told you to?
She said that we wouldn't get anything. They would just not give us the insurance money.
And that's why you had to say what she wanted you to say.
Correct.
Sustained.
Is that why you said what you said?
Yes.
Did Linda ever tell you where the van was at the time of the fire?
And one of her stories, it was at the bottom of the hill. When she ran out of the basement, she got in the van to go get help. And then another time it was at the top, where we always parked it at the top. And she had hopped in it to go try and get help.
At the time of the fire, you said you were 17?
Yes.
And did you live then with Linda for a period of time?
Yes.
Did you live with Linda while you were going through these insurance
Yes.
statements? She was your sole support at that time?
Yes.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
You're a grown man now. I'll call you Mr. Pierce. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I will try to keep this brief. You mentioned you were talking about keys in the car, remember?
Yes.
In the Blazer. You live in a rural area, obviously, right?
Correct.
It was not uncommon for folks out in the rural areas like you to leave keys in the car, right?
I don't know about other people. We wouldn't leave our keys in the car though.
You would, right?
No, we wouldn't.
Well, in the Blazer, the keys were there that day, right?
Yes.
Are you aware your dad's wallet was found in the van that day? That was his work van?
No.
You're not aware of that?
I'm not aware of that, no.
You talked about purse, and your mom's purse was on the kitchen, right?
Correct.
Possible she had more than one purse, isn't it?
It's possible, yes.
Growing up until Ms. Stermer got arrested in June of 2009, you had a very close relationship with your mom, right?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. You had a close relationship with your dad?
Yes.
You don't like your mom very much, do you?
No.
The cell phone that you said there were two phones your mom had?
Yes.
One was her own phone and one was a work phone, right?
One was her own phone and the other she had told me was a work phone.
Okay. You believe it was a work phone and that's what you told the police officers when you were interviewed, right?
I don't recall.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor? Okay. Show you a police report, and I'm just directing you to page 3. Page 1 was August of 2007. You see that, August 10th?
Yep.
That sound about right when you were interviewed? Do you remember being interviewed
By who?
by the police?
I don't remember any interviews by the police.
I want you to read just this little part that's highlighted on page 3. Page 3 of the, yeah, right at the top third. You there?
Yep.
Okay. It says investigating officer also asked if his mother had a cell phone, which he stated she had 2 cell phones, which he identified as one being a regular phone and the other being a work phone. Does that jog your memory?
I guess I would ask if you could please stop testifying and ask questions.
Does that jog your memory that that's what you told the officer?
I'll overrule that.
No.
This is okay.
I don't remember talking to the officers about that.
At all?
No.
if you were talking to police officers, you would have been truthful with them, right?
I don't know. If my mom was around, then I'm not sure.
You don't remember if your mom was around or not around?
No, I don't remember the conversation.
Okay. Do you recall, in terms of the cell phone and the cell phone bills, that you would run up the cell phone bill talking to your mom or talking to your girlfriend a lot?
Yes.
In fact, back then, I mean, we have unlimited now, but back then you had limited minutes on family plans.
Yes.
Remember? So you and your mom, because you would run up the phone, remember not showing dad the phone bills so you wouldn't get in trouble?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
And that you would have to pay for part of the bill because you were running up the bill with your girlfriend?
I would have to pay for part of that, yes.
The day of the fire, when you went to the mall, when you saw your dad, you didn't know if he was on the chair or on the couch in the living room, right?
I believe he was on the chair when I saw him.
May I approach, Your Honor?
He was 17 and it was the worst day of his life.
Do you remember testifying at a prior hearing?
Yes.
And I should look at page 150 if you would.
Okay.
In line 14, you were asked, do you remember whether he was on the couch or in a chair? And your answer was, it was one of the two. I just didn't really see him. I saw his leg, really.
Yes.
Remember being asked that question now that you look at it?
Yes.
Okay. You were under oath, right?
Yes.
You swore to tell the truth.
Yes.
And your memory would have been better back in 2010 than it is now, 15 years later, right?
Yes.
If you were asked that question, that's the answer you gave, that would have been the truth, right?
Yes.
As far as you knew, he was watching TV.
I can't say that he was watching TV. I don't know.
Ask you to look at line 18, same page. The question was, so he's in there, and as far as you know, he was watching TV. Your answer?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Memory was better then. Yes.
Yes.
You were sworn to tell the truth, and you did tell the truth. Yes.
As far as I know, he could be watching TV. He could have been doing anything. Yes.
You did tell the truth.
Yes.
When you were asked by your mom, by Linda, to go to the mall, she didn't seem nervous at all, did she?
She seemed, I wouldn't say nervous. No, I would say more urgent.
She was calm.
No.
No? I asked you to take a look at page 158 again. Line 17, 23. You see that?
Yes.
You were asked under oath back then in 2010, when your mom came and told you and your brothers to go see a movie or go to the mall, she was calm at that time, right?
I would say
your answer was, yeah, she seemed calm.
yes.
Next question. She didn't seem upset or excited or scared or angry or anything like that. Is that true? And your answer was right.
Right.
When you were under oath back in 2010, you swore to tell the truth. That was the truth, right?
Yes.
That's where we're going. We're nitpicking.
Now, I'm sure your dad loved that house, right?
Yes.
But your mom loved that house too, right?
Yes.
And you had a cat at the time named Carrie?
No,
You had a cat.
no,
You did not have a cat.
no.
Are you saying the family didn't have any cats?
I don't remember any cats at that time. My cat had been hit by a car before that.
Okay. If you had cats in the house at the time, your mom loved animals, right?
Yes.
Dogs, cats, horses.
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
You don't know if any cats survived the fire, do you?
I don't remember having cats at the time.
And that morning, your mom had told you that they were planning on getting divorced, right?
Yes.
And they were going to talk about splitting up the property, right?
Correct.
So but she wanted you and Trenton and Trevor, at least to make it seem like you were in the house, so the argument wouldn't be so big and loud, right?
Correct.
That's why she said, look, I don't want you to say bye to your dad because I want this to be calm this afternoon, right? Calmer.
That's what she said. Correct.
And it's not the first time they ever talked about, or your mom or dad ever told you about they might get divorced.
No.
It happened a few times, a couple months before for sure, right?
I don't know the time frame, but before.
Before, and your mom told she might live with her sister-in-law or her stepsister. Remember that?
I don't remember that.
If you told somebody under oath that, would that have been true?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach? I'm going to ask you to read page 25, line 18 to 24.
Read it.
Not to yourself.
Oh, okay.
Let me know when you do. Good. Does that refresh your memory that your mom had told you sometime before that she might go, or you all might go live with her stepsister?
No, I don't remember.
It doesn't jog your memory at all?
No.
If you said that on the road, that would have been true, right?
Yes.
You just don't remember now.
No.
It's been so long.
Right.
Do you recall telling our jury just a little bit ago that you would store family gas cans in the shed or the garage, the shed or where? Or the lean-to
Like a
or something?
barn lean-to.
Okay. And it was, you wouldn't store them in the front yard, right?
No.
Or in the front porch or anything?
The front porch. No.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to look at that transcript at page 159 if you would. And look at, should be highlighted, lines 10 through 22. Let me know when you're done.
Okay.
Good?
Yep.
All right. Were you asked, and you were asked about questions about what's on the property, tractors, lawnmowers, those kind of things, right?
Right.
And then you were asked, there were multiple gas cans at the property that were kept either outside in the shed or sometimes empty gas cans that would be by the front porch. Is that true? And your answer was?
Yes.
Then you were asked the question, and it wasn't uncommon for an empty gas can to be kept there by the front porch area so it could be put in the vehicle and taken to the gas station. Is that right? And your answer?
Yes.
That was true at the time you gave it under oath?
Yes.
In fact, it wouldn't be uncommon for your mom or your dad to take gas to the gas station, right? Or you. Things have to get filled up. True?
True.
Usually it falls on the kids when you get driving age, right?
Yeah.
No, you said it was not the van was your dad's work van, right?
Correct.
But if the Blazer was gone, did you have your own car?
I don't remember if my car was working at that time or not. I had a green Cavalier though.
Okay. If it wasn't working and somebody was in the Blazer, let's say you took the Blazer because your car wasn't working, there'd only be a van left, right?
Correct.
So somebody would have to drive the van, and whether it's mom or dad.
Correct.
Certainly mom wasn't prevented from driving the family van, right?
No.
And you testified that the night before you didn't hear your dad downstairs, if he came downstairs to mess around with the furnace, right?
Right.
Because you were sleeping. True?
True.
Right. And you were a student at the time, right?
I would have been in high school, yes.
Okay. So you're gone, you're not at home often. True? You're either at school, maybe you're with a girlfriend, maybe with friends, right?
I went out. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't,
So you wouldn't know if your dad was working on the furnace on any given time if you weren't there.
correct.
Right? And simply because you didn't hear him doesn't mean he wasn't working on the furnace at some point during the day before, right?
Right.
Or 2 days before.
Correct.
Right? Now, can you give me just 1 minute? When you were in school, did you have buddies?
Yes.
Right. Would your mom come up to school sometimes?
Yes.
Right. And when your mom came up to school, would your buddies all say hi to her?
I don't understand the relevance of her going to the school is at this point.
He just said he didn't have a good relationship with his mom. I'm exploring that because I think that they did. Thank you. Your friends all like your mom?
I don't think so. But
Would you hug her when she'd come up to school?
yes.
And your friends would.
What's that?
And your friends would too.
I don't recall.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Relevant. What?
You said that you were in bed and you heard the arguing the night before the fire, right?
Yes.
And your room borders or shares a wall with the furnace room, you said?
Yes.
So is it fair to say you weren't really sleeping very sound late into the evening?
No, I would have been awake for a little bit.
And you didn't hear anything in the furnace room the night before?
No.
And it felt like you wanted to explain maybe when Attorney Mueller asked if Linda was calm, upset, or angry, felt like you wanted to explain a little bit more. Was there something more you wanted to say?
She was calm in a sense, but she said we needed to hurry. And she wanted us to be quick She wanted me to get my brothers around quickly and get them out of the house.
Did she tell you when to come home that day?
I don't recall.
Is there anything that your family would have been using a 1-gallon gas can for in January?
I disagree, I'll allow it.
I can't remember. I don't know.
You said there was no snow blower, right?
No.
And it's January, so you wouldn't be using a lawnmower, right?
All right.
I will sustain as to leading.
Would you be using a lawnmower in January?
No.
Any reason you can think for a 1-gallon gas can to be in your front yard?
I can't think of anything.
I'll allow the last question and answer.
And when you talked to the police, Linda was telling you what to say, is that correct?
I'll allow it for redirect, just to keep things moving.
At the time I was living with her, she was telling me what to say when people would ask me questions. Yes.
And were you living with her when you had to testify at a court hearing?
Yes.
And were you living with her when you had to go through interviews with the insurance agent?
Yes.
Today, you're a grown man, right?
Yes.
And she's not telling you what to say today?
No.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
You said when you gave testimony in a hearing that you were living with your mom?
Yes.
You gave testimony in a hearing in January of 2010. You weren't living with your mom. You were living with Amanda? You remember that?
No.
Remember having been incarcerated for a crime and then you were living?
Can you approach, please, Counsel?
He's a jerk.
Directing you to strike and not consider that last question in any way.
In the winter, sir, did you use the tractor to haul bales of hay around for the horses?
Yes.
Okay. Tractors use gas.
Yes.
And when you'd have friends over there, you'd have friends over for paintball parties, right, on your property?
Yes.
And your mom would cook breakfast. They'd stay over.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
How big was that tractor?
It was a large tractor. The wheels on it were probably about 4 foot high, I would guess, if I had to.
Did it take more than a gallon of gas to fill it?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Nothing.
Jury, any questions of him? I've got several.
It was. It absolutely was. He's a jerk. He's trying the witnesses.
Sir, I have some questions from the jury.
Okay.
Did you have fire alarms in the house?
I can't remember.
Okay. So you wouldn't know of which rooms or if any rooms had them?
No, I can't remember.
Okay. Had Linda ever asked you boys to leave the house when arguing with Todd?
No, that was the first time.
If you know, was there a blanket covering Todd when you and your brothers left for Kalamazoo?
I'm not aware of that. No, I'm not sure.
Was the tractor gas or diesel?
I'm not sure on that.
Okay. Counsel, any questions in light of those questions and answers?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, just. You were aware sometimes your mom and dad would have some pretty loud arguments,
Yes.
but this was a situation where the mom told you, we are getting divorced and we need to split up the property. That's why I don't want you to get real loud, right?
Correct.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't hear that last question of something about tractor and gas. Oh, do you know?
I don't know.
No more questions. Thank you.
Any witness that is
Had
bad
talked
for
to
his
you
case.
about them getting divorced several times before that day, hadn't she?
Yes.
And this was the first time she'd ever asked you to leave.
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
This is the first time she said we are getting divorced. Before it was general talk, right?
Before it was general talk. Yes.
This day was we are getting divorced and we need to split up the property and I don't want you.
Asked and answered at this point, Your Honor.
No. Last question. And that's why I want you to leave, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Nothing. Jury, any other questions? No? May he be excused from his subpoena?
I would ask that you please be excused from subpoena, Your Honor.
Any witness that is bad for his case.
Thank you, sir. You're all done.
He
and
tries
you're
to
excused from your
discredit.
obligations under your subpoena. Okay. Good place to end.
It's a great place to end, Your
Okay.
Honor.
You broke the law. You were in a psychiatric hospital.
Jury, because we're heading into another long weekend, I'm going to read the same instructions. You'll have them memorized by the end of this trial. You must not discuss this case with anyone, including your family or friends. You must not even discuss it with the other jurors until the time comes for you to decide this case. When it is time for you to decide the case, I will send you to the jury room for that purpose. Then you should discuss the case among yourselves, but only in the jury room and only when all the jurors are there. You must not talk to the defendant, the lawyers, the witnesses, or anyone who may be connected to this case. This means that you may not speak to these individuals, even if it has nothing to do with this case. You should be very cautious about speaking to people because you may inadvertently speak to someone connected to this case. This restriction is necessary to avoid even the appearance of any improper conduct on any person's part. If anyone tries to discuss the case with you or in your presence, tell them to stop. Explain that you are a juror and you are not allowed to discuss the case. If they continue, leave. Report the incident to court staff as soon as you return to court. When the trial is over, these restrictions no longer apply. When the trial is over, you may, if you wish, discuss the case with anyone. The restrictions I'm about to describe are meant to ensure that the parties get a fair trial. In our judicial system, it is crucial that jurors are not influenced by anything or anyone outside of this courtroom. Under the law, the evidence you consider must meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth, and the lawyers must be able to cross-examine them. Because information obtained outside the courtroom does not have these safeguards, it could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. These restrictions continue until I discharge you from jury service. It is your duty as a juror to decide this case based solely on the evidence you see and hear in this courtroom. You must not consider information that comes from anywhere else. This means that during the trial, you must not read, watch, or listen to news reports about the case, whether in newspapers, on television, on the radio, or on the internet. You also must not research any aspect of the case during the trial. This means research using a cellular phone, computer, or other electronic device to search the internet, as well as research with traditional sources like dictionaries, reference manuals, newspapers, or magazines. You must not investigate the case on your own or conduct any experiments concerning the case, including investigation or experiments using the internet, computers, cellular phones, or other electronic devices. You must not visit the scene of any event at issue in this trial. If it is necessary for you to view or visit the scene, court staff will take you there as a group under court supervision. You must not consider as evidence any personal knowledge you have of the scene. You must not share any information about this case by any means, including cellular phones or social media. This means that even if you are not discussing the case with someone else, you may not post any information about the case on social media websites or in any other manner. If you discover that a juror has violated my instructions, report it to court staff. On that note, I will thank you for another week of service here and wish you a good weekend. And I'll see you Tuesday morning, not Monday.
Why is it another long weekend? This trial's never going to get done. Well, good. We can get caught up on stuff that we missed on Monday.
Council, juries left, any matters to address?
Just to update the court on timing, we have two witnesses. The other two Stermer boys will be testifying on Tuesday. The people will be resting at that time, so that way we would anticipate the defense to then start having their witnesses available on Tuesday. And then we would request advance notice of when Mr. Greenville will be here, because we have our Sergeant Greenville will be here as well.
He would like to, just for the record, he would like to be Tuesday, first witness, maybe a second. It'll be Tuesday. And I expect if the two boys go like this last one, mid-morning, closing by late morning.
So we still think we'll get it to them by Friday probably, or you're doing
Yes,
closings
I
anyway
think.
Friday?
I haven't seen an updated list, so I'm not sure how many witnesses. So if you guys can just let us know, that'd be great. Thank you.
And then I sent you I guess we'll worry about it if we have to with that one. jury.
Yes. So depending on when we're going to start deliberations.
Yeah, if they don't start.
If we start getting deliberations on Thursday or Friday, they have to discuss that again.
Yeah,
Deliberations start Wednesday.
because I think, didn't that,
Quick. Quick like a bunny. Well, don't just stand there. The door's open. Go. Oh, what? Well, go. I opened the door. Silly girl. Okay. I opened the doorbell. Go. Go outside. What are you looking at me like that for? What? Okay. So, no court on Monday. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything either. So maybe Monday I know well, maybe we can do, I'll look at the Taylor business hearing and see if there were any fireworks other than what we already saw. And the Daryl Brooks thing. I want to show you guys that South Sit that was in McBurney's courtroom. And I think there's been a follow-up to that one. I downloaded that one. I was thinking about it. When I download something and then go to play it back through StreamYard, the door is open. Why are you barking? They're driving me crazy, y'all. When I play it back through StreamYard, the sound and the picture are not synced. But when I play it, just like through my media player, when I play it, it's fine. So I'm wondering if instead of like playing it like a media file, if I just share like my whole screen and just play it, if it'll work. So I'm going to try to do it a different way next time and see if I can get it to work. Because I'm not sure. I don't know how long Judge McBurney keeps his stuff. And I don't know if I can go back and find the original stuff to stream. But I know that I downloaded, because that Sobs it's hilarious. Because he wants to go to trial. I forgot what he did. I mean, it's some... Oh, no. It wasn't a simple thing. He killed somebody. That's right. McBurney's criminal court was in Georgia. It was a guy was walking his dog. And it was him and another guy. They killed the guy and they stole the dog. I don't think that was the reason they killed him. I don't know the whole story, but... And the one guy, they're being tried. I can't remember if they're being tried separately or not, but the one guy has an attorney, but this one guy wants to represent himself. And Judge McBurney is the sweetest, most patient. Like, he's explaining. Usually they're like, you really shouldn't represent yourself because you don't know how to do it. You don't understand things, and they leave it at that, and then when they go to ask questions, they're like, well, I can't give you legal advice. McBurney knows how to explain it to them without giving legal advice. I don't know how he does it, but he explains things to him, and the guy just was like, he kept asking questions, and McBurney was like the patience of a saint. But it was getting funnier and funnier and funnier the more the guy was asking questions. And McBurney could not talk him out of it. He was like, nope, I want to do it, Judge. I want to do it. So I've got that ready to go. And then I think I saw, because the channel that I watched it on then posted another video that said something, the thumbnail said something like, our favorite soft sit is back in McBurney's court or something like that, and I didn't get a chance to watch it. So I think he's had another hearing since that one. So I need to find that and download that too. So that we might do that on Monday. I've got plenty of stuff to do. I don't know why I ever thought I would not have enough material. I just like, how am I going to do this? I've got plenty of stuff to do. And there's a couple of true crime cases that I want to do videos on, and I don't have time to make videos anymore. I'm swamped now. I have more than enough stuff to do. What was that woman's name? Her last name was Bookbinders. How I remembered her last name, because it was such an unusual last name. She was a therapist, and was it her nephew or her cousin? He was like a behavioral problem at home, and she took him in and she basically brainwashed him into killing her ex-boyfriend. So that's one I want to do. What was the other one? I wrote it down, but I don't remember where I wrote it down, and I don't remember what it was. Darn it. I don't know. I'll remember. I got plenty of things I want to share with you guys. All right. We'll figure out something to do Monday. Trust me, we'll find something to do. Okay. Thank you guys for coming out. I love you guys, and I love that you tolerate me. I don't know why you guys like me. I really don't. But I'm glad that you do. So, I will see you guys tomorrow. In the morning, we will do Phil Spector for an hour and a half or so. And then at 10, I'm going to do a members only. We're going to do the second half of Jen McCabe's testimony in the Karen Reed trial. And then we will take Sunday off, and then whatever we're going to do Monday. I'll figure it out later. Have a great weekend, you guys. And if I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you next week. And I love you. Be kind to people. Love your family. And Jesus loves you. Bye.